And Mr. Baka, very excited to be leaving Somé, considering the situation, and other Nigerian students hoping that they get back safely. Nearly 2 weeks into Russia's invasion of Ukraine, much of the world has started to speculate on what can happen next. Where is it heading? With some even suggesting a possible descent into an unthinkable nuclear conflict. Russia's attack and takeover of a nuclear power plant southeastern Ukraine on Friday heightened concerns of a nuclear catastrophe in the region. Now, beyond fears of unintended leaks and possible future attacks on Ukraine's 3 remaining nuclear plants, we've had menacing statements by Russian President Vladimir Putin and Sergei Lavrov, Minister of Foreign Affairs, spurring worries that Russia may seek to turn captured reactors into dirty bombs. Well, joining us to discuss the threat of escalation from the use of nuclear weapons following the invasion of Ukraine is Professor Yusuf Ahmed, is the Chairman, CEO, Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission. Welcome to the program. Professor, if you can hear me.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. How far do you think Vladimir Putin is willing to go in this war? Is there a real possibility of this escalating to a nuclear one?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think if we can start discussion about the nuclear is safe across the world, there is a gentleman understanding to the fact that nuclear weapons, yes, you can have them, but utilizing nuclear weapons in a war is something that internationally there is agreement, there are conventions that many countries ratified, including the Russian itself. So the Geneva Convention, Article 56, particularly ban countries for attacking nuclear facilities, and also there are non-nuclear proliferation treaty that says people cannot use nuclear weapons and also cannot produce more nuclear weapons. But I think what Russia is trying to do, if I can categorically say, is that he is sending a signal to his opponents, to the fact that if you push me to the wall, I may resort to nuclear. But I think Russia is one of the biggest nuclear countries. In fact, when they occupied the reactor, the nuclear power plant there, it occurs to me that they are trying to also occupy the reactor from the safety point of view. Because if you look at that, that reactor is one of the biggest in Europe, and it has 6 units of reactors there put together, almost 6,000 megawatts of electricity that is being generated there. And so if anything can happen to that reactor, it can be a nuclear catastrophe. So I think Russia is only saying that it is occupying that place to ensure that the reactor is safe. And we have seen what happened in Chernobyl, and this reactor is like 6-fold to the Chernobyl reactor. So I think there is no much concern about nuclear war for now. But I think if we are not praying, if the thing escalates, it may lead to the fact that there may be challenges across the entire world.
And when President Putin put Russia's nuclear defense system on heightened alert, we saw this last Sunday, the term nukes began trending on Twitter. And a lot of people were wondering if we are now living in a nuclear threat with the invasion. But also, seeing as the seizure of the plants, the nuclear power plants in Zaporizhia, what do you think might likely happen? And this is with the world that is still yet to get rid of nuclear weapons.
Yes, if you look at the whole scenario that is evolving around Ukraine today, you find out that Ukraine has about 4 nuclear stations, 2 in the utmost north and then 2 down south. Now, what happened recently is because the advancement of Russians is through the south, and thereby meeting Chernobyl by the side, and then also meeting the other 6 units of the reactors there in Zaporizhia. So those reactors were part of the strategic system of Russia ensuring that there is no sabotage across these reactors. Remember also, I want to inform you that Russia is not in his own interest for this time now to say that it advanced the issue of nuclear attacks. Because if you look at the wind direction it is towards Russia. So most of the time, if there is a nuclear incident, the cloud and the dust of the nuclear accident will follow the wind direction. So I think strategically Russia is trying to safeguard nuclear facilities to ensure that no saboteurs that can attack those facilities. However, the concern about putting his people, his military on alert about possible nuclear attack, yes, one can understand from the angle to the fact that if peradventure the European communities and the West try to attack Russia in another dimension, maybe that is an option. But I am sure for either Europeans or America may not attack Russia using nuclear, whatever the circumstance. I'm sure because of the treaties and also conventions and also agreements that were signed by both parties. So I think these are Western countries and these are civilized countries, and I'm sure they may not contemplate that, because the catastrophe, the impact will not only stop in Russia and Ukraine, but it will go into countries that are innocent, into people that are not parties to the war. So I think there is no much concern about that. But if peradventure any one of them use nuclear, then the disaster is going to be too much.
Yes, but Prof, should the world get rid of nuclear weapons? Because you know that sometimes they're very likely to be used by accident, there could be a miscalculation or even mistake.
Yes, I agree with you. You see, when we are talking about nuclear, there is peaceful angle and there is non-peaceful angle. But the non-peaceful angle, which is for the military purpose, I think the world have all agreed to get rid of those ones. In fact, there is an issue of convention on disarmament. And most of the countries that have the nuclear, about 9 of them who has the nuclear warheads, they have agreed that they are going to do a graded approach and systematic approach to disarming. But that is not being done so fast as expected. People have engaged different countries, both nuclear owners and non-nuclear warhead owners, to ensure that this disarmament happens. We are targeting to the fact that we can go into a world with 0 nuclear warheads. But I think before that is being done, there is a gentleman agreement that those warheads will remain in their facilities without being utilized across the world.
But those gentleman agreements could also be broken, and, you know, essentially the question is, anybody gets hold of it, anything can happen. But, I mean, this is the first time a military conflict is happening amidst, you know, the facilities of a large established nuclear power program. Some people might be wondering, especially in Africa, how is the continent, Nigeria, also affected by the likely scenarios from what's going on in Ukraine?
So there are 2 or 3 likely scenarios if one can look at it. For a nuclear weapon, it can be utilized as a projectile to be sent from any other launching country to another country or region. It can also be utilized as a submarine, which can be launched from the sea to any target area. But it can also be used using a plane that can go and drop it in the target areas. But whichever that happens, you see, when there is a nuclear release, many people, all the communities, environment, and the people around those environment can be contaminated. 1. 2, you find out that the wind direction will take the dust and the radiation and all these things to far distance as far as the wind can go. And then 3, you realize that in Africa, because of our proximity to Europe, if an attack is on the European continent, it may lead to the fact that the wind direction may come towards sub-Saharan African countries. And that is why the problem is the environment, the people can be contaminated, and you know, definitely there are issues concerning radiation when it enters human body. And I don't want to be too technical, but so many issues may come up, and I think cleaning and also medical assistance that may be required. So not for now, because the incident can turn positive or negative. But I am assuring you that there are no much concern. The major concern is European countries. I think if there are going to be any launching from Russia, it may be targeting European countries, and in retaliation, the European countries may also target Russia and its allies. So the catastrophe may end up being a world war, but we are not praying for that. But I think, technically speaking, there are a lot of implications if any of the nuclear warhead is released.
All right. We also understand that, I mean, a number of countries are still, you know, getting nuclear plans, still gathering that. And some might wonder, where is Nigeria in the mix of this?
Yes, I was trying to tell you that there are peaceful applications of nuclear science and technology, and there are military applications. I think in the field of peaceful applications of nuclear science and technology, Nigeria is keyed into getting nuclear power plants for its electricity generation. You will agree with me that there are so much challenges in electricity today in Nigeria. This has to do with our inability to have what we call energy basket. In an energy basket, you may have all the energy sources put together, so that at least if one fails you, the other can stand for you. The last time I heard the Minister of Power saying that there are challenges with hydroelectricity generation because of the water level and whatever. But if we had facilities like nuclear power plants, that could not be the case, because once the reactor is on and the core is loaded, whether it is dry season, rainy season, whether there is water or no water, I think that will not affect it. So I'm a person that is saying that Nigeria needs to go back to our energy basket, putting both renewable, non-renewable, clean, and all these things together, so that we can be able to stand all the seasons. But I want to inform you that the recent designs of reactors are fairly safe, very rugged, very robust, and in fact, those nuclear facilities that we are talking about in Ukraine, in as much as, yes, the Russian forces are around that facility, but that facility is a facility that has a lot of designed in depth for its own safety. So I think ordinary without targeting, ordinary shaking in the facility cannot create any nuclear accident. But when military target a facility, they can have a projectile that can be able to enter the facility. But for the purpose of our own country, the happenings in Ukraine should not discourage us from having our nuclear power plants. Nuclear power plants nowadays are very safe, are very strategically strong enough to be able to withstand environmental challenges, military challenges, and whatever. But I'm not saying that if you can have a powerful bomb or projectile hitting directly onto the facility, it cannot destroy the facility. But even if a facility is destroyed, again, there are defense in-depth mechanisms that can stop the facility from releasing its own radiation into the environment. And I have to inform you also that the Chernobyl reactor, why it contaminated the whole Europe, is because it is made up of a graphite moderated facility. And once you use graphite to moderate the facility, the graphite got with fire, and then that escalates into meltdown of the core. But most of the new generation power plants are water moderated. Pressurized water reactors are most often very stable, and I think these are the reactors that Nigeria is considering to build for the purpose of electricity.
We appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Professor Yusuf Ahmed, Chairman, CEO, Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission. Thank you for joining us on the program on this issue.
Thank you for having me.